Engage Fi or Engage Fi?
You know, if Jenna Dabo was here, she might correct you, but I'm not going to correct you. We're going to go with Engage. But
Just Engage?
No, but it's Engage Fi.
Engage Fi.
Yes,
all right.
absolutely.
All right. Well, you heard it here live. It's Engage Fi.
Yes.
And we are here with Engage Fi's Andrea Rusnak. How are you, Andrea?
I'm awesome.
Great to see you.
It's great to see you too, Mike.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
To the credit union industry.
Thank you.
We have missed you
Aww.
tremendously. So thank you.
I've missed all of you too. It doesn't, I was telling someone earlier, I was like, I didn't feel like I left. I felt like I took a little bit of detour on the journey.
Yeah.
I learned a lot. I still went in a helping people business just on the healthcare side.
Yeah.
But this has always been my heart, is credit unions and relationships.
We knew you would be back.
Yes,
you would be back. Yeah.
I was meeting with the CEO earlier, and he said, I knew you were going to be back. I wanted to let you take your journey, but I knew you'd be back.
Yeah.
And it's what a great place.
Good.
I feel like this week has
Good.
been amazing.
Well, before we start the interview, we have to share a quick story
Absolutely.
about our airport experience.
Yes, we do.
Was it like 3 days ago?
It was Tuesday.
Tuesday morning, I'm in the airport just
Right.
hanging out, waiting for my flight, and look who walks up right
I was
next
like,
to
Mike
me.
Lawson? I have it. It's like the famous Mike Lawson. Like, how do I get this privilege?
Yeah, we
It was very
shared
cool.
the flight together. There was only 37 people on this flight. Can you imagine that?
We had a whole brand new Southwest flight to ourselves,
Exactly.
literally.
We had the plane to ourselves. It was really a lot of fun. And
It was
great
fun.
to hang out with you
It was awesome.
for that time and as well as here. So how
Yeah.
has the conference been for you? Because it's kind of like a homecoming
I'm coming.
for
You took the words right out of my mouth. I was
There you
talking
go.
to someone last night, and they said I hadn't seen them in 8 or 9 years because we were at different conferences and different companies. And he said, welcome home. And it was great. I gave him a huge hug, and I said, this is what it's all about. Credit unions are always about serving others. And the best thing I think about this conference that I've heard time and time again from every speaker is member centricity. It's like been the big buzzword.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's been
That
part
was
of
the
everything.
opening comments on stage.
Right. And
first
everybody's
night.
about connecting and that personalization. And
Yeah.
I think that's what makes credit unions so unique in the business that we serve, is that if you really understand your members, you really take the time, you look at the data, and you really make the effort, you can make their experience so much better. Because even as we were talking earlier with some other colleagues, they were saying they've had so many life changes. And wouldn't it be great if their credit union proactively reached out and said, oh, I know you're graduating from college. You're probably might be looking to reestablish some credit. What can we do for you? And so credit unions are in that perfect position to do that.
Yeah.
So this conference has all been about how do we connect the dots and how do we not miss those opportunities. So it's been great.
Good deal. Good
Yeah.
deal. Any highlights content-wise or
Yeah,
speaker-wise? that stand out for
Absolutely.
you?
So I was thinking about our speaker the other day, the co-founder of Square.
Oh,
And
yeah, I saw that too.
Wasn't that
was
great?
Really interesting.
So
yes.
interesting.
Yeah.
And when someone says, what's the average age of a credit union member? 47. The room just...
And his response.
Oh my gosh, his
classic.
response was, you have a problem. You have a problem you need to solve.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of how the conversation with innovation and then what problem are you trying to solve? Because if we don't put those younger members on our boards and get volunteers, and we don't bring in those ideas and perspectives, how can we continue to grow and evolve and change as an industry
Right.
and also in our respective credit unions? And so for him to kind of point that out, which everyone was thinking the same thing, he's like, you're missing huge opportunities. Why are you not marketing to this demographic?
Yeah.
You have so much knowledge and wealth you could get from these individuals. You guys want to keep growing. You don't want your boards to keep elevating and not be the younger demographic and doing the Gen Z and Gen X. How do you bring that in? And so I really enjoyed what he said. He had no qualms about saying to all of us.
No, not at all.
He
Not at
was
all.
like, you are missing your opportunities.
Yeah, it was great to get that perspective from
Exactly.
somebody outside the
Exactly.
industry looking in.
That's right.
Rather than us, we're always
Right.
kind of looking inward at ourselves,
Exactly.
so to speak. So yeah, and the second part of that, I'd like to, when somebody else asks, well, how do we get younger, or how do we
Right.
remain relevant with this younger crowd? He says, hire 20-year-olds.
Exactly. I
Get
love
them right
that.
off the street.
I love
They
that.
don't have to go to college.
That's
just
right.
get them off the street. They'll
Right.
show you the way. So yeah, I just thought
That was such a unique perspective. And you're right,
Loved
we
it.
wouldn't have gotten it inside the space, but
Right.
we'll get it outside.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things I found interesting too was when they talked about how there's $1 billion that's sitting in used currency and Starbucks app, and that's bigger than most financial institutions.
Yeah.
That was mind blowing. I mean, I think there was a couple moments of wow, because think about that. Members are already doing that. So where are we not getting our cards being that stored value, that stored choice, right?
Yeah.
And so that was really an interesting takeaway too.
Yeah, I think 25 of my dollars are part of that.
I think all of us are on that reload of $25.
Well, I think Jean Chasky even admitted to
Yes, she did.
I'm part of Bank of Starbucks too.
I think all of us are, right? We like the reward. It kind of goes back to the same. We like the rewards we get. It's your birthday, you get a free drink on your birthday from Starbucks. there's all these things that tie into, they know who we are, they know how to serve us, they know if we want it on the go, they know if we want to pick it up.
Right.
I mean, that's all, it's always back to the same thing, member-centric personalization.
Yeah, that was a great opening night. I mean,
Oh, it was
everybody
fantastic.
who got up there and talked was spot on for sure. So,
Absolutely.
let's talk about what's Engage FI doing here. What are you doing here, Andrea?
I am
what an
so
awful question to ask. Wait a
No,
minute. What brings you?
Absolutely.
to
So
Co-op?
we're honored to be here. Obviously, there's some other consultants that are here as well, but Co-op actually sent in an invitation and said we'd love for you to be here,
wow,
which I
that's
think
nice
is great.
Yeah.
And they had a first session on the first day in the afternoon just for consultants
Mhm.
to talk about their strategy, their roadmap, their investment, some of the changes they've made, and how that benefits the mutual clients that we work with. So really, I'm here to not only learn some of the new things that Co-op is bringing out in the next couple quarters and the end of the year,
Okay.
but it's also to meet and network with our credit unions and some of our prospects that are here as well.
Okay. Right on.
So
Right
it's,
on.
I mean, you're in a beautiful location
Mhm.
in Tucson.
Yeah.
We're kind of by ourselves at this beautiful, nice resort. So you always run into somebody, whether it's walking to Starbucks in the morning,
Yeah.
whether it's walking to the conference hall or break
Yeah.
room. So it's what a unique opportunity to have that chance to talk with CEOs, board directors, heads of cards.
Mhm.
One of the things I keep hearing is that payments is the new strategy, but payments has been the strategy for a long
For
time.
quite a while. Yeah.
But I thought it was interesting that every speaker that even came that isn't from our space talked about how if you want growth, you have to focus on digital strategy and payments. I mean, that was heard every day so far. So it tells us that our credit unions are starting to think about it.
Right.
I mean, when you're now seeing chief strategy payments officers, and we're starting to work with a lot of those on our end. And I was talking to a credit union at lunch, and they said, it's been probably 15 years since we've done an evaluation at all on our core, our mobile,
What?
right, and our brand. And so we just had a really exploratory conversation about like, what's your experience today? What do you want it to be? What are you focused on? Do those partners integrate with your core? Is your member experience the way it is in one channel versus another? And he said, these are all great questions. I'm probably not the person, but there's someone on my team that you can help. And I said, absolutely. We're here to help and serve.
Yeah.
So for me, I think it's a great
Well,
opportunity.
in this day and age, you would think something like that would be, at the very least, an
Yes.
annual thing. You would
Right,
think,
an annual
Or
review.
maybe even quarter. Dare I
Yeah,
say quarterly?
absolutely. We
The way
always
things
ask our
are going?
clients, what's your strategies?
Yeah.
Is it the days of doing a 5-year plan? I think everybody's
Done.
right. It's not put it on a shelf and go. It's 3 years or less.
Yeah.
And honestly, when we're talking to clients too, we're like, okay, when are these contracts up?
Yeah.
Next 18 to 24 months. You
Yeah.
should already be looking at the landscape just to educate yourself on what's available
Completely.
and what you might not be taking advantage of with your current provider like Co-op, and making sure you're leveraging that.
Yeah, that's a great message to get. Oh, great, especially with the speed
Mhm.
of how things are going.
Absolutely.
I think Mark Seawright said a few years ago that today technology will never be slower than it is today. It's
Yes.
always going to be.
Yes.
I can't remember where he said that, but I just
Yes.
that saying. I'm paraphrasing, of course, but
Right.
that will
You're
never leave me.
copying.
I copied him just like the
Like
swear guy
speaker.
said.
Yeah,
Yes,
I love
yes.
that. I've heard that a couple times this
We're all
week.
copies.
We're copying, and that's like the ultimate compliment, right? That you're taking something and you're
You want
doing
to share
it.
with that? What's your take on the copying thing?
So I thought that was really
cool.
interesting
Yeah.
because I thought it was interesting when he said with Square, that's not the business he was in. One of our speakers, former co-founder of Square, was talking about how he was in the glass blowing business. He's an artist by trade. He loved it. That's what he did. But a member, I thought that was such a good example. He said, someone walked in that wanted to buy a piece of art that they loved, $2,000, and they were like, here's my American Express, expecting him to be able to take it. And he
Right.
was like, I'm sorry, I don't take Amex.
Yeah.
So you're going to lose a $2,000 sale. He's a small business.
Mhm.
And that idea came to, well, wait, how do I fix this so I can get the sale, keep the new client, and how do I make that? And that's how Square was formed.
You're right.
It's like there was a market need. Nobody was able to get it for him.
Yeah.
So he's like, I'm going to create this little thing that's really small and easy. I want to break
just-
17 laws to do it.
Exactly.
That was
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
And it was 15 steps. It was a little bit of trial and error. And then he said they were up in like several weeks,
Yep.
taking credit card payments. And then it was,
That
okay.
quick.
And I thought that was interesting. Made me realize that everybody wants to know, like, how easy is it for you to do business with us and make it easy to come to your member. And I think he really illustrated that really well.
Agreed. Share with me your responsibilities at Engage.
Yeah, absolutely.
Based on your experience in
Sure.
the industry. So I really kind of like the connection.
Yeah, absolutely. So I like to say that I'm the strategic advisor. So I have a payments team. They're amazing. They're industry veterans. They've all worked at either processors, at credit unions. They've been in the space a long time. And so we have what we call subject matter experts within the team. I run the consulting solutions payments team. So a lot of our credit unions we work with on maybe a brand strategy. If they're doing a rebrand, maybe they're looking at different processors or providers. We can do core evaluations, online banking, mobile. You pretty much name it, anything with cards, anything that touches a member within that payment space, which is a huge
You guys
ecosystem, we do.
You're there.
And I was meeting with someone at lunch, and she casually said, Andrea, do you know anybody in your network that you would refer me for a VP of e-commerce? And I said, can you give me your information? I'd be happy to share some people that I think would be qualified. And I feel like that's such a gift when you can give somebody that you would either recommend or referenceability, and that's what the space is all about. So we like to give our clients that experience of what do you need and what can we help solve? Let's understand what your strategies are, your objectives are, and how do we make sure we align so that you're going to meet the expectations and the goals that you have.
Right on. Because I think we all can't do it by ourselves.
Agreed.
We all know. So
we need partners.
Need partners to go up there.
Absolutely.
To really, because again, things are moving so fast. It's almost impossible to keep up with it by yourself. So
Agreed.
you got to have somebody there who's keeping an eye out for you.
Right.
And when you work at it collaboratively,
exactly. That's perfect. I love that.
It all works out.
Yeah.
So,
And so that's why it's great to be at conferences like this, where you can talk and collaborate with other partners in the space and say, this credit union is looking at a rewards platform. What is co-op offering today? And you can connect all those dots, because some people may not have always had that exposure or awareness of what else is available.
Yeah.
It was interesting last night at dinner. Someone said, I think there's only 2 mobile providers. And I said, there's not. There's quite right. And I said, I was like, wow, okay, let's talk about that. And they said, I haven't looked at this in a while. And has the landscape changed? I said, it's changed quite a bit.
Yeah.
Did they do APIs? And we were going through it. And she goes, I need to educate myself. I said, and that's what we're here to do, right? We're all here to serve and make sure we put the education out there if you need it, and let you know who can provide it.
Leverage your expertise.
Absolutely.
This is what you do for a living.
Absolutely.
So you already have all this information at the tip of your fingernail. So yeah, sure.
It's great.
Yeah.
So it's a great opportunity for us too.
So what's the big takeaway from Think this year, other than, hey, welcome back, Andrea. It's great to have you back in the credit union industry, but content-wise or strategy-wise, what's the big takeaway for you?
I'd say the big takeaway for us as an organization, and also for our company too, is that we want to make sure that there's so many markets that are underserved. And I keep hearing it from different credit unions. They'll say, I didn't know that integrated with my core. I didn't know that integrated with my mobile. Yet they're doing marketing campaigns to drive growth, to drive usage. And maybe they're only getting that benefit on one side of their business. Like maybe only their debit card supports that and their credit card doesn't. Those should be all interlinking in together. Because if I'm a member and I pull out my credit union card, I shouldn't care if I'm using my debit or credit. I should get rewards.
Exactly.
It should work. I should
you.
get fraud notifications, right?
Yeah.
So if I pull it out and I can't have that same experience I'm already used to, I'm not going to put it as top of wallet in Amazon or somewhere else or Uber and use that every time.
Right.
So I think it's elevating the awareness of what's available, what have you looked at recently, and what can we help you do to get there? Because the only way we're all going to grow as an organization is if we keep reinvesting in our technology, our business, our strategy, and then tying all that together.
Yeah, because we're a debit family.
Okay.
So, I mean, we have credit, but it's just there for emergencies.
Okay.
So, but we like to be very accountable for the dollars that we
spend. Fair. That's absolutely fair.
But we don't get that rewards type thing that you would get on a credit card. So I'm kind of bummed sometimes.
And I'm sure you're spending a lot on that debit card, and you'd like to get credit for that, right? You'd like something that would say, okay, when you travel on a plane 50 times a year,
tickets, I'm reserving rooms at hotels and things like that. Yeah, I'd like to get.
You'd like to get extra credit for that.
Yeah,
and you should be able to be valued and recognized for that.
I'm glad you brought that up.
It's true. Yeah. I mean, I think about it all the time because I've heard people say, well, I use this card, and that's usually a telltale sign. I use this card for travel because it's got rewards. I use this card for this because it's points.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't your credit union want to just offer all of it and let the member choose what's best for them and let them get rewarded the way they want to be rewarded?
Eureka.
Right? Yahoo!
Hallelujah!
Exactly.
Oh, goodness gracious. Andrea, I could talk to you all day long. So
thank
you so much for taking time out of
me.
Your busy schedule. I know you've been running around here.
It's been fun.
Shaking hands and hugging people and stuff.
It's been great.
So, yeah, good deal.
It's fantastic. I'm glad we shared a plane ride, and we found out we're sharing a plane ride home tomorrow.
On the way home, too.
To San Diego. So it's been great. Thank you so much for having me.
Nice little bookends.
I know. I love that. It's been amazing.
Andrea Rusnak, everybody from
Engage
FI. Welcome home.
Thank you. Aw, thank you all so much.
Well done.
Thank you.
Oh, and
that was so fun.
Thanks, guys.